They talk about how talented Michael Jackson was, how everyone loved his music and dancing. But then, one person who says they were hurt by Michael Jackson starts talking to the camera. This person says that Michael Jackson did something very bad to them. They say that for 7 years, Michael Jackson hurt them in a very wrong way, in a way that is not allowed and is very hurtful. People's opinions about Michael Jackson start to change because of this serious accusation. It's like a big turning point in how people see him. There is a movie about Michael Jackson, and it was added to a film festival called Sundance. But ever since they said they would show this movie, there has been a lot of arguments and disagreements. The people who take care of Michael Jackson's things, like his music and his legacy, said that the movie is a terrible attempt to make money from Michael Jackson and that it's shameful. And some fans of Michael Jackson got really angry and even made threats against the person who made the movie, a director named Dan Reed. On the internet, people talked about maybe protesting the movie at the film festival. This made the police come to the festival because they wanted to make sure everyone was safe. But when the festival actually happened, only a small group of very dedicated Michael Jackson fans came to show their support. Inside the Egyptian Theatre on Main Street, they showed a 4-hour documentary about Michael Jackson in 2 parts. In this documentary, the director, Dan Reed, shared the detailed stories of 2 men who said Michael Jackson abused them when they were kids. The stories are very explicit and could be upsetting for some people, so they had healthcare professionals there to help anyone who might get upset. Before, in court cases, people didn't believe those who accused Michael Jackson, and some called them crazy or just trying to get attention. The director, Dan Reed, decided to focus only on these 2 accusers and their families, without adding any extra information. He said this makes the stories more powerful. Both accusers have similar stories. They were both under 10 years old when they met Michael Jackson. They loved performing, and they say Jackson first made friends with them and then did bad things to them. The first person we hear from in the documentary is Wade Robson. He loved Michael Jackson a lot and even had Jackson's posters on his walls. He was a sensitive boy who liked dancing, and he started copying Jackson's moves when he was very young. He won a contest and got to meet Jackson, and they became close friends. Wade's family was also very excited about his friendship with Jackson. The second person who accused Michael Jackson, James Safechuck, met Jackson after getting a big role in a Pepsi commercial. Just like the first accuser, they became friends when they were kids. By the time James was 10, he was traveling with Jackson on his tours, and his mother, who was also a big fan, thought of Jackson like he was her own son. Ames is the first to talk about how his friendship with Michael Jackson took a disturbing turn. He says Jackson introduced him to inappropriate things, which James thought was a way to become closer to Jackson. This led to what James describes as an inappropriate relationship between them when they were alone, sometimes sharing hotel rooms, and James's mother didn't know what was happening. As the stories continue, they become even more troubling. James's mother's hotel room was intentionally booked on a different floor to keep her from finding out. James remembers one time when he woke up to find Jackson had done something inappropriate to him while he was asleep. Jackson also told James that he was Jackson's first inappropriate experience and that this was an acceptable way to show love, which is not true or right. When Neverland Ranch was built, it became easier to ensure privacy. It sounds sick, but it's kind of like when you're first dating somebody, James explains, after listing the many spaces at the complex where Jackson would allegedly abuse him. He claims that Jackson would tell him that his mother was mean and that women were evil, pushing him away from his family and further into Jackson's life.